Over 60? Can't stay asleep at night? Fix these 5 nighttime habits. Are you over 60 and finding yourself wide awake at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling? You're not alone. Nearly 50% of adults over 60 experience chronic sleep difficulties. But here's what most people don't realize. The problem isn't your age, it's your habits. Tonight, I'm going to reveal the 5 most common nighttime habits that are sabotaging your sleep, and more importantly, show you exactly how to fix them. These aren't complicated medical treatments or expensive solutions. These are simple, science-backed changes you can start implementing tonight. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's essential for your immune system, memory, mood, and overall health. Poor sleep increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, depression, and cognitive decline. But the good news is that most sleep problems in older adults are completely fixable once you know what's causing them. Before we dive into the specific habits, let's understand something crucial. Insomnia isn't just a medical condition. While medical issues can certainly contribute to sleep problems, research shows that behavioral and lifestyle factors are often the primary culprits, especially as we age. Think about it this way. Your body is like a finely tuned machine, and every habit you have either supports or undermines your natural sleep cycle. The scientific term for this is circadian rhythm, which is essentially your body's internal clock. This clock doesn't just control when you feel sleepy. It regulates hormone production, body temperature, digestion, and even immune function. As we age, this internal clock becomes more sensitive to disruption. What might have been a minor sleep disturbance in your 30s can become a major problem in your 60s and beyond. But here's the empowering truth. By identifying and changing specific habits, you can often restore healthy sleep patterns more effectively than with medication alone. The 5 habits we're about to discuss are based on sleep research from major institutions like Harvard Medical School, the Mayo Clinic, and the National Sleep Foundation. Each one directly impacts your ability to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling refreshed. So, let's get into these sleeping habits. But don't forget to like, comment, and follow us. This is a safe place. Let's begin. Habit 1. Too little movement and too little sunlight. The first sleep-sabotaging habit is one of the most overlooked. Insufficient physical activity and inadequate sunlight exposure during the day. Your sleep quality tonight is actually determined by what you do during the day, not just before bedtime. Let's start with movement. Your body produces adenosine throughout the day. Think of it as sleep pressure that builds up. Physical activity accelerates this process, making you naturally tired by bedtime. But here's what's fascinating. It's not just about being tired. Exercise also triggers the release of endorphins and helps regulate stress hormones like cortisol. Research from Northwestern University found that adults who engage in 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week improve their sleep quality by 65%. But you don't need to become a fitness enthusiast overnight. Even a 20-minute walk after dinner can make a significant difference. Now, about sunlight, this is where most people over 60 make a critical mistake. Sunlight exposure, particularly in the morning, is like hitting a reset button on your circadian rhythm. When light hits your eyes, it signals your brain to stop producing melatonin, the sleep hormone. This creates a clear distinction between day and night in your internal clock. The problem is that many older adults spend most of their time indoors. Maybe you're retired and don't have a commute that gets you outside. Maybe mobility issues make outdoor activity challenging. But even 15 minutes of morning sunlight, sitting by a window, doesn't count. You need actual outdoor exposure. It can dramatically improve your sleep. Here's your action plan. Start your day with 15 to 30 minutes outside, even if it's just sitting on your porch with your morning coffee. If weather is an issue, consider a light therapy box designed for seasonal affective disorder. For movement, begin with just 10 minutes of walking after each meal. This isn't about intense exercise. It's about consistent, gentle activity that signals to your body that it's daytime. The timing matters too. Try to get your sunlight and most vigorous activity in the morning or early afternoon. Exercise within 4 hours of bedtime can actually make it harder to fall asleep because it raises your body temperature and stimulates your nervous system. Habit 2. Eating too salty or too sweet before bed. The second habit that's destroying your sleep is eating foods high in salt or sugar before bedtime. This might seem minor, but what you eat in the evening has a profound impact on your sleep quality. Let's talk about salt first. When you consume high-sodium foods in the evening, think processed snacks, canned soups, or restaurant meals, several things happen that disrupt sleep. First, salt makes you thirsty, leading to increased fluid intake and more nighttime bathroom trips. Second, excess sodium causes your body to retain water, which can lead to uncomfortable swelling and difficulty finding a comfortable sleeping position. But there's a deeper issue. Salt affects your blood pressure and heart rate. A study published in the journal Sleep Medicine found that people who consumed high-sodium meals within 3 hours of bedtime experienced more fragmented sleep and spent less time in deep sleep stages. Sugar creates a different but equally disruptive problem. When you eat sugary foods or drinks in the evening, your blood glucose spikes rapidly, giving you a burst of energy when you should be winding down. What's worse is what happens next. Your blood sugar crashes, often in the middle of the night, triggering the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that wake you up. This is why many people find themselves wide awake at 3 a.m. after having dessert or a late-night snack. Your body is literally in crisis mode, trying to stabilize your blood sugar, and sleep becomes impossible. Here's what you should do instead. If you need an evening snack, choose foods that promote stable blood sugar and contain natural sleep-promoting compounds. Some excellent options include a small handful of almonds or walnuts. They contain magnesium and healthy fats that support sleep. A slice of whole grain toast with a thin layer of almond butter. The complex carbohydrates help produce serotonin, which converts to melatonin. A small bowl of tart cherry juice, one of the few natural sources of melatonin. Plain Greek yogurt with a sprinkle of granola. The protein helps maintain stable blood sugar overnight. The key is portion control and timing. Eat your evening snack at least 2 hours before bedtime, and keep it small, no more than 200 calories. Your digestive system needs time to process food before you lie down, and large meals can cause acid reflux and discomfort that interfere with sleep. Also, pay attention to hidden sources of salt and sugar. Many medications, especially liquid formulations, contain high amounts of sugar. Cough drops, antacids, and even some vitamins can spike your blood sugar. Read labels carefully and consider timing these differently if possible. Habit 3. Going to bed hungry. Now we come to the third habit, and this one might surprise you. Going to bed hungry. While overeating before bed is problematic, so is go to bed with an empty stomach. Finding the right balance is crucial for quality sleep. When you're hungry, your body produces more ghrelin, often called the hunger hormone. Ghrelin doesn't just make you think about food. It actually promotes wakefulness. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes sense. When food was scarce, staying awake to hunt or forage was more important than sleeping. But ghrelin isn't the only issue. When your blood sugar is too low, your brain perceives this as a threat and releases stress hormones to mobilize energy stores. These same hormones, cortisol and norepinephrine, are designed to keep you alert and ready for action, the opposite of what you want when trying to sleep. Many older adults inadvertently create this problem by eating dinner too early, especially if they're following advice to avoid late meals. If you eat dinner at 5 p.m. but don't go to bed until 10 or 11 p.m., you create a 5 to 6 hour gap without food. Your blood sugar has likely dropped significantly, and you're fighting both hunger and stress hormones. The solution isn't to eat a large meal before bed. That creates its own problems with digestion and acid reflux. Instead, you want to provide your body with just enough fuel to maintain stable blood sugar through the night without overloading your digestive system. Here's a strategic approach. First, assess your dinner timing. If there's more than 4 hours between dinner and bedtime, you likely need a planned evening snack. The ideal bedtime snack combines 3 elements: a small amount of protein to prevent blood sugar crashes, complex carbohydrates to promote serotonin production, and foods rich in sleep-promoting nutrients like magnesium or tryptophan. Some scientifically backed options include a small banana with a tablespoon of almond butter. Bananas contain natural melatonin and potassium, while almond butter provides protein and magnesium. 2 whole grain crackers with a thin slice of turkey. Turkey contains tryptophan, which helps produce serotonin and melatonin. A small bowl of oatmeal with cinnamon. Oats naturally boost serotonin production, and cinnamon helps regulate blood sugar. Timing is crucial. Eat your bedtime snack 1 to 2 hours before lying down. This gives your digestive system time to process the food without creating discomfort when you're trying to sleep. Pay attention to your individual response. Some people are more sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations than others, especially those with diabetes or prediabetes. If you take medication for blood sugar control, work with your healthcare provider to coordinate your evening eating with your medication schedule. Also consider the psychological aspect of hunger. Sometimes what feels like physical hunger is actually habit, boredom, or emotional eating. True physical hunger develops gradually and is satisfied by nutritious food. If you find yourself craving specific foods or feeling suddenly starved right before bed, this might be more about routine than actual nutritional needs. Habit 4. Worrying and overthinking before bed. The fourth sleep-sabotaging habit is perhaps the most common and destructive. Worrying and overthinking as soon as your head hits the pillow. This habit creates a vicious cycle where anxiety about sleep actually prevents sleep, making you more anxious the next night. Here's what happens physiologically when you worry. Your sympathetic nervous system activates, releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles tense up, and your mind races. This is a complete opposite of the relaxed, parasympathetic state needed for sleep. For many people over 60, bedtime becomes worry time almost automatically, without the distractions of work or daily activities. Concerns about health, finances, family, or even just tomorrow's schedule flood your consciousness. The quiet darkness that should signal sleep instead becomes an echo chamber for anxious thoughts. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that people with chronic insomnia have overactive minds that continue processing information and problems when they should be winding down. The key is learning to redirect this mental energy before it spirals out of control. The solution involves both immediate techniques for when you're already in bed worrying and longer-term strategies to prevent bedtime anxiety altogether. Let's start with prevention. The most effective strategy is creating what sleep specialists call a worry window earlier in the day. Set aside 15 to 20 minutes, ideally in the late afternoon or early evening, to deliberately think through your concerns. Write them down. Categorize them as things you can or cannot control, and make action plans with controllable items. This sounds simple, but it's remarkably effective because it gives your anxious mind a designated time and place to process worries. Next, develop a consistent wind-down routine that signals to your brain that it's time to shift from active thinking to rest mode. This should start at least an hour before bedtime and include activities that are inherently calming. Some effective options include gentle stretching or yoga, reading something pleasant but not too engaging, listening to calming music or nature sounds, or practicing gratitude by writing down 3 good things from your day. But what about when you're already in bed and your mind starts racing? You need what I call thought stoppers, techniques that interrupt the worry cycle and redirect your attention. Here are 3 that work particularly well. The 4-7-8 breathing technique. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and gives your mind something specific to focus on instead of worries. Progressive muscle relaxation. Start with your toes, systematically tense, and then relax each muscle group in your body. By the time you reach your head, you'll likely be asleep, and if not, you'll be deeply relaxed. The cognitive shuffle. This technique, developed by sleep researchers, involves deliberately thinking of random, unconnected, boring images. Picture a red umbrella, then a coffee cup, then a tree, then a doorknob. The randomness prevents your brain from creating anxiety-provoking narratives. For persistent worriers, consider keeping a notebook by your bed specifically for parking thoughts that arise at bedtime. Write down any concerns with the explicit agreement with yourself that you'll address them during tomorrow's worry window. This externalization often provides immediate relief. Habit 5. Drinking too much mineral water before bed. The 5th and final habit might seem healthy on the surface. Drinking large amounts of water, particularly mineral water, in the evening. While staying hydrated is important, The timing and type of fluids you consume can significantly impact your sleep quality. The most obvious problem is nocturia, frequent nighttime urination. Getting up multiple times during the night doesn't just interrupt your sleep, it fragments your sleep cycles, preventing you from reaching the deep, restorative stages of sleep that are crucial for physical and mental recovery. But there's more to this issue than just bathroom trips. Many people don't realize that mineral water, while healthy during the day, can be problematic before bed due to its high mineral content, particularly sodium and magnesium. The sodium can contribute to water retention and increase blood pressure, while excessive magnesium, though generally relaxing, can have a diuretic effect in large amounts. Additionally, if you're drinking large amounts of any fluid close to bedtime, you're not just adding volume to your bladder. You're also potentially diluting your electrolytes and affecting your natural hormone cycles. Your body produces antidiuretic hormone, ADH, in the evening to help concentrate urine and reduce nighttime bathroom visits. Excessive fluid intake can overwhelm this natural mechanism. The solution is strategic hydration throughout the day rather than trying to catch up in the evening. Aim to consume most of your daily fluid intake before 6 p.m. If you must drink something after dinner, limit it to small sips, no more than 4 to 6 ounces total. Choose your evening fluids wisely. Plain water is generally better than mineral water for evening consumption. If you enjoy the taste of mineral water, save it for earlier in the day. For evening hydration, consider herbal teas that actually promote sleep, such as chamomile, passion flower, or valerian root tea, but even these should be consumed at least 2 hours before bedtime. So, which one do you experience the most? Please leave a comment below. Till next time,